Breaking into the music business is a unique journey for everyone, but the love of music and the culture is the connecting tie.
These are the untold stories of how Canada's most prominent Black entertainment professionals got started in an industry that never sleeps.
I'm Adrian Wallace.
And I'm Tera Beljo. Welcome to Season 3 of AMPLIFY.
Think about it. Why do people in the entertainment world choose to change? Is it the thrill of reinvention, the pressure of staying relevant, or perhaps the desire to break new ground? And what are the drawbacks of change in this industry? How does it feel to step out of your comfort zone into the unknown? Could drastic changes risk alienating your established audience or industry connections? As a social entrepreneur and diversity advocate, Carla Beauvais has learned to harness the transformative power of change, turning criticism into fuel for her mission. But even for someone as accomplished as Carla, the journey hasn't been without its challenges. While constructive criticism can be a catalyst for growth, there's a fine line between helpful feedback and malicious attacks.
It's difficult to want to be aspire to be a change maker and not face the backlash of the community. And sometimes for me as a woman, as a Black woman, sometimes I think I found it very difficult to try to the way I can to make a difference, and then you see the backlash you receive from people from your community, and it's kind of why am I doing all this if I receive so much hate and stuff like that. So that I really think it's one of the things that is the hardest for me is to face the criticism, but not constructive criticism. Sometimes it's just I don't know where those things come from. So for me, it's very, very hard. I had a period of time, from 20 to 23, I shut down all my social media. I was really in a dark place. And it was really difficult for me because I know everything that I do, it's to shine, to bring light, to shine light on other people. And sometimes when you see that you don't, it's not that I want everybody to like me, that's not the point, but sometimes people can be very harsh and hard, and so that I think it's very, very tough.
Visionary filmmaker, Director X, who has shaped the visual language of music videos for over 2 decades, believes each individual must chart their own course, since no two paths to success are identical.
There's no secret for it. You have to navigate this how you are going to navigate it. That's the key of it all. There's not, there's looking at mentors, getting inspired, seeing other people's stories. This is all great stuff. But this is your story. Just because someone got real lucky and just before the rent was due, he tripped over a bag of money and was able to pay off all his debts, that's that guy's story.
Navigating spaces where people may not want to see you succeed can be a daunting challenge, but it's your story to tell. Setting clear goals like Gail Case, Executive Director of the Black Academy, can help you map that narrative and guide you through the complexities of your path.
I would say as a woman of color, there are people who, they may see the shine in you, like the star in you, and they don't want that to happen. They don't want to see you progress. So just being able to kind of navigate those type of waters. So every year I set my goals. I look at what happened the year before, what goals I actually met, and then I write them again. In January, I'm writing down my goals and making sure that I know the path that I want to take. So just always going back, looking at what you wrote and ensuring that you're hitting those goals for yourself.
In the journey of self-discovery and empowerment, one essential truth emerges. You must not only love yourself, but also genuinely like yourself. This is a lesson that journalist Hilary Leblanc understands deeply.
It honestly took, I would say, probably year 2 of therapy when we started getting into ideas around core beliefs and the idea that I was both not enough and too much. This idea that I always wanted so much attention and I was so loud because I was genuinely starving for attention while simultaneously making myself small in all of these spaces, and that duality. And it finally clicked to me that if I can think back to a time where that would have started, it's in my community, because at no other point in my life was I really thinking that way until I was like, oh my God, every white little girl around me that I wanted to be their friend, it was because I was trying to be louder and then also trying to be exactly like them. And so that duality, I think, really came into play there. And then by that point, I was already in sobriety and in recovery. But at no point during my addiction did I consider that my Blackness was a part of it at all. If anything, I thought it was because of my mother's dementia, traumas that I faced while using that kept that literal snowball going. And the fact that I was in an abusive relationship. And so all of these things I was like, oh, this is why. But why did I let any of that happen? Because I didn't like myself at the start. And so the root cause was really my insecurity around my Black identity and my existence as a whole.
When you can truly like yourself, a remarkable shift occurs. You begin to relax, to let go of the pressures and expectations that often weigh you down. As multi-award-winning recording artist and songwriter Marika Siewert knows too well.
It's probably I am my biggest critic, and finding a way to not allow that to hinder the art in me. I can be pretty serious when it comes to like, I got to do this and I got to make a living and I got to, care for my family. I think the biggest gift being an artist and a creative is being able to play and being able to keep your childlikeness. And I think the world and society tries to get you out of that as you grow up and says, this is the way you got to do life. And I've been really grateful to have a family that plays with me. And I think even as adults, if we just continued to play, we would be happier people. There'd probably be less of us on antidepressants and miserable. We'd probably have more friends because we're just having more fun,
Growth is change, and change is growth, a philosophy that resonates deeply with North American DJ and producer Jester. Embracing both the challenges and opportunities that come with transformation, Jester has carved out a unique space in the music industry.
I try to call it growth. I call it change. Everything changes. And you grow from your experiences. So to me, when something doesn't happen, that means there's something bigger and better out there for you. It may not come tomorrow or the next day after that, but who knows? It may come 10 years from then, but that growth is going to happen.
A veteran journalist and Canada's foremost expert on hip-hop culture, Dalton Higgins has witnessed firsthand the urgent need for growth within Canada's entertainment industry.
When we look at Canada, I guess Canada in general, Toronto in particular, and we look at, if you're working in the music industry, if you're working in journalism, and the demographic realities are not reflected, right, or represented in newsrooms and, at labels. I mean, I talked to some of the young, up-and-coming, emerging, burgeoning talents, in music, that, young rappers, R&B, singers, reggae, dancehall, it doesn't matter what they're doing. And I was talking about this actually off camera, this idea of, like a booking agent, right? So I look here as someone like me who wrote for The Source for many years, and so I understand the music industry ecosystem as far as music managers, right? Booking agents, publicists, public relations, the whole thing, right? Kind of been there, done that. Music presenters, music bookers. And so in America, there are a lot of Black booking agents, very important, critical Black management companies and Black managers, Black publicists, Black PR strategists, Black music presenters, Black music bookers. And then I sort of juxtapose that with what was happening here. And one little trick I like to play, I'll say, hey, like how many Black agents, booking agents are there in Canada? What are there? Is there like one or something? Or like maybe one? I don't know. Like I don't, there's maybe one in 2024, right? So this is our management companies, these sort of Black owned and operated management companies in Canada. How many of them are there, right? So you're talking, it's just like on one hand. It's just so again, yeah, sometimes I'm based here, but I move around. I'm a global citizen. But it feels like, we're a bit stuck in the Stone Ages, when it comes to these types of things I'm talking to you about, as far as music presenters, music bookers. They're just not nearly enough of them, So after you're in an industry a couple decades, 10 years, 10, 15, 20 years, and it's just like, hey, there's still no Black booking agents. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Continue to be, not generate work opportunities, because that's what booking agents do, right? They book you to play venues, right? Hard-ticketed shows, they book you to play music festivals, they book you to play corporate gigs, right? So if a tech company wants to hire a talent to perform, to rap, to sing, to do whatever, right? They go through booking agents primarily, right? So if we don't have no Black, like what are we doing? What are we really doing here in Canada? What are we doing, right? So it feels, some parts of the industry here, it feels, we're stuck in the Stone Ages. Feels like this is like 1982 or something all over again. That's what it feels like here.
Recognizing the gaps in representation and the importance of sharing our stories, Brandon Gonez, CEO and founder of Gonez Media Inc., left CP24 to create a platform that amplifies diverse voices and narratives.
The decision to leave Legacy Media and start my own company kind of came in the midst of the pandemic. I never had the chance to work from home during the pandemic. I didn't know what that was like. Every day I was still going out there and reporting, and a lot of times it was reporting on people dying at the seniors' homes, seeing body bags coming out day in, day out, all those things. And I think for everybody during the pandemic, especially, the moment you did get a chance to sit down and just self-reflect, you were asking yourself, am I happy? Is what I'm doing fulfilling me? And so when I asked myself that question, I was like, I feel happy, but I feel like I also have a lot more to give. There's a lot more that I want to accomplish. There's a lot more that I want to do. There's so much in the Canadian space that I feel like was untapped. So much talent that's not getting exposed. So many stories that are not being told. And so I was like, well, damn, we're here today. We could be gone tomorrow, literally. So if we're going to do something, might as well do it now. And so, I have a bit of that, that nerve, have a bit of audacity, So I was just like, once the thought's in the mind and you put it on paper, you got to action out the action plans. So that's kind of how it all began.
Advance, Canada's Black music collective, is also doing its part to change the game, a sentiment that Marika has keenly observed.
So being in this space today and what Amplify is doing and what Advanced Music is doing, this is game-changing. I'm not sure if you guys even know how game-changing it is to look at all these faces. Because I'm in Vancouver, and oftentimes the production companies come to us and say, we don't have any Black camera people, Black producers, Black actors even still. I'm one of, I'm going to say 20 or 30 Black actors that gets cast in film and television in Vancouver. And I think that's ridiculous. I think that there needs to be more accessibility, more awareness, more education. So I flew out for a day and a half to be here, and this is incredible. Could make me cry, but I won't cry on camera. Because the talent is here. We are here. It's just who is actually paying attention to hear and see us.
Hillary is also inspired by the incredible momentum we're witnessing as individuals and communities take action to make meaningful change.
Mentors or heroes, I think there's other people in this series that I definitely look up to. I think that Brandon Gonez has done such amazing work. I see people who are doing amazing work in the media space and taking ownership of it, being able to own companies as Black people, which I think is so pivotal and important. I very much look up to Sasha Exeter. I think what she's able to do as a Black single mom, I've told her to her face, it makes me wish that my mother could have had that strength and not felt like being a single mom was so hard that my mom coped the way she coped, because I look at Sasha's relationship with Maxwell and I think that is something so, so beautiful to behold. And I hope no matter what happens in my life, I have that relationship with the kids that I want to have. And I do think that, there's people in my family that are also I do look up to my grandmother, and I think she's had so much tenacity, so much strength and bravery to build empires and companies in Senegal, where I don't even know what those realities entail, but I know it can't be as easy as it is here. And to do that and be a mother of 4 and a wife, and that's, an incredible feat.
Sometimes being in the room with inspiring people can transform you. This is a truth that resonates deeply with Director X.
Hype saw something in me. He really saw some talent and gave me opportunities, let me just come around. It was not come here, son, let me teach you something about something. And it wasn't like that. Just being in the room was the big thing that he gave for me.
Championing each other's beliefs is essential for nurturing the sparks of change that can lead to transformative growth. When we stand together in support of one another's visions and aspirations, we can create an environment where innovation can thrive and new ideas can flourish.
It's nice to run into people who believe in you in the wild. I think having Julie Black look at me and say that it's like Serena and Venus, and it's a sisterhood in this. And while she is, you know, I think at the peak person that we all, as a country, I hope are looking up to have someone look at you and just champion your beliefs. And I think it's even the small things. It's people who they look up to you, and you reach out to them, and you maybe don't expect their support or their collaboration, and they're your biggest champions and your biggest fan, and they're ready to support you at any moment. It's just so huge.
It takes a village. This age-old adage reminds us that no one achieves success in isolation. In the world of entertainment, and indeed in every aspect of life, community support, collaboration, and shared vision are essential for growth and progress.
I was born in Toronto. When I speak to people who grew up in the Caribbean and the continent, Africa, they always talk about, if I do something wrong, my neighbor down the street is gonna whoop my butt. My neighbor, my aunt, my uncle, right? That's a village, right? A village, so that's the mentors, that's the mentorship, right? That village existence, it kind of got obliterated, you know, as far as migration patterns when we come here. That similar style, the village, no longer exists in much the same way. So we have to recreate that village, right? Because a lot of Caribbean people from the continent, Africa, they always say that. And Latinx too, right? The black people from, you know, Cuba, they say, oh, if I skipped school, didn't do my homework, sort of being a jerk or whatever, like somebody's gonna ring my ear or say, no, you better get back to school. And if it's not my mother, who's working 3 jobs, can't be there, or my dad's not around, whatever the situation is, or they're both home, but there's somebody in the neighborhood, the village, the town, the country, whatever, that's gonna make sure that I'm doing my thing, right? That doesn't so much exist here. And that's one of the things I also attribute to when we talk about like gun violence and a lot of stuff happening is that the village, right? Because if somebody's acting up in a village, the neighborhood I grew up anyways, no, you're gonna get checked, you know? It's not just some random, arbitrary committing acts of violence, stuff like that. It doesn't really work like that, right? But here, there's no village, right? So if a kid is wilding out or whatever, there's nobody really to kind of, you know what I mean? Rein him. That's what's happening. That's what we see.
Nurturing the community that nurtured you is how we inspire the next generation. This is precisely what Twysted Miyake-Mugler is doing with his house. As a legendary figure in the ballroom scene, Twysted has created a safe haven for Black and other racialized LGBTQIA+ youth, providing them with support and resources they need to thrive.
Now that's a passion project because like building my house to me, it's like when you pick people to be essentially the hair to your name and what you've been doing, the way that you invest in them is different than just like the people that are taking my classes and whatever, right? These people, I call them my kids as well. So that means committing, you know, to their lives, right? Because once you join this ballroom scene, this family really, and it's like, it's hard to hear, especially for like saying it to like parents and whatever, but it's like, these people really become your family because you just latch onto them in a different kind of way. So that means that we're getting messages 24/7 in our group because everything, bus fare, stuff like that, or it could be food, or I need a ride or something like that. Or I need money to walk a ball, support to walk a ball, I can't do it, blah, blah, blah. It's real like parenting stuff like that. And then, like I said, when it comes to your kids now, because they are your representation as a legend, if that makes sense. Like they're the legacy. So we train them in a different kind of way. All this stuff is free, of course, so no one's like paying us for it. But we know what it gives us, and we know what it gives them. So when it comes to building a house, it's just takes time, it takes commitment, it takes energy, it takes practice, takes strategic planning, artist development, whole bunch of stuff, but it's for people that you like and want to do it for. So it makes it fat. It's no shade. It's a lot, but like you enjoy the process, you enjoy the product too. Like you become as invested in it as the person doing it. And it feels good when they succeed, you feel like you succeed too. So that's always the goal as a parent, just like have that moment of, oh, we did it. Oh, we ate that. Work, bitch.
We've witnessed the raw power of transformation. We've seen how embracing change, even when it's uncomfortable, can lead to extraordinary breakthroughs and unexpected opportunities. These stories of reinvention remind us that we are not defined by where we start, but by our willingness to evolve and adapt. In a world that's constantly shifting, standing still is no longer an option. If you've ever wondered how mentorship can shape a career in the entertainment industry, look no further than the next episode of the AMPLIFY docuseries. Join us for episode 5, season 3, as we look ahead to the powerful themes of mentorship and the hard choices that define our paths.